I've heard on several occasions that hospice workers who are being with people that are lying on their deathbeds will almost always report that when people are in their final hours and they talk about their life's biggest regrets, they won't talk about the things they did that they regretted. Actually, what they do is they talk about the things they didn't do, the risks they didn't take, the actions they didn't follow, the ability to follow up on their heart's desires. So as we enter into this new year of 2023, where are you in that regard? Are you ready to go for your dreams? Are you ready to think big and take action to make those dreams come true? Hi everyone, Chris Natzke here with Black Belt Leadership Speaking and Coaching with your Mind of a Champion tip of the week. You know, this time of year, I don't know if you do this, but I always have a general practice of putting together my annual plan for the upcoming year. Virtually what I do is I review the last year and what my biggest successes were, my biggest disappointments and the lessons that I've learned. And then I put together a plan and, it's pretty comprehensive. I've got it sitting right here. I'm really proud of how this looks on paper. But the fact of the matter is when I get honest with myself, sometimes what ends up happening is I don't take the big actions to make those dreams come true. And really, when I think about it, it's because a lot of the old patterns start coming up about things that have failed in the past, and I begin to lose a little confidence in myself. And so it's an ability to identify that and be able to move through those uncomfortable feelings to be able to get where we really want to go. And I'm reminded of a study that I first heard from my good friend Craig Zablocki, speaker extraordinaire, and he uses this in his talks. And it was a study that was done that was called the NASA Longitudinal Test for Creative Potential. And what they did is they took a number of subjects, and what they determined is that 98% of 4 and 5-year-olds tested out as creative geniuses. Pretty high number, right? Now, when you took a look at a group that was 5 years older than that, what they found is that number actually reduced to 30%. And when they took people 5 years older than that, it had reduced down to 12. And by the time these people were adults, only 2% of them were testing out as creative geniuses. And what happened? My sense is they didn't get less creative as they aged just because the capacity wasn't there. It's because of the beliefs they began to hold on to and the way that they began looking at themselves, and that they, as a result, didn't take the risks and didn't do things differently because they tried to feel safe in where they always were. So as we have this new year upon us, I'm going to challenge all of us, myself included, to step out of our comfort zones, to really think big and take action so that we can create what we want in this year and in the years ahead. So I've got 4 keys to dreaming big and taking action in 2023 that I want to share with you. And the first one is to dream big. Now, big is an acronym in this case. And number 1 is B stands for being bold in your vision. Many times what we do is we limit ourselves to what we think we can do based on our past performance. But if you just allowed yourself to dream and just really go for it, how bold could you be in the vision that you want to create? I stands for be imaginative in terms of how you can take action to follow through on those dreams. What are some things you could do where you step outside of your comfort zone, maybe things you didn't do in the past? And then the G stands for be giving in your gifts. Because I truly believe we all have a unique sense of, a unique portion of gifts that we have to give. And when we're bold in going out and imaginative in how we can share those, and then we actually do, our lives can be amazing. So where do you have the ability to dream big? Number 2 is surround yourself with big people. Now, I don't mean necessarily large in stature. I'm talking about people who are dreaming big themselves. Because we all know that when we hang around people who are really going for it, people that are challenging themselves and then as a result can challenge you, it puts us in a whole different atmosphere, right? Right? I think it was Jim Rohn that said that we're an average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. So are you hanging around with big people? Are you hanging around with people that are really going for it? Number three is to learn from your mistakes, embrace them. I mean, there's things that happened in the last year that we're probably not proud of, we're probably disappointed of. And what we can do is we can make mistakes and then we can pull ourselves back and say, oh, geez, I failed in the past, I can't do it again. But can you objectively look at the mistakes that you made and learn from them and take appropriate action as a result of that? Because if in fact you made a mistake and you learned from it, it really wasn't that bad anyway, was it? It may have been one of the greatest things you could have in your life. And then finally is to identify things that scare you or make you uncomfortable and take action despite of that. You know, one of the things I've come to realize is that anytime we're in a growth place in our life, it's not a comfortable process to move through. It's very easy for us to stay in our comfort zones because what we want to do is we want to feel safe. We want to feel secure. But what I also know is that when we look back at our lives, is what we're usually most proud of are the times we did have difficulty and we moved through them. And quite honestly, I think that we're also the happiest when we have a challenge in front of us that we're moving through. It's when we feel best about ourselves. It's when we wake up excited to do something that day because we know we have a challenge ahead of us. So where are you at in these 4 areas, my friends? Are you dreaming big? Are you hanging around with people that have those same type of big dreams? Have you taken a reflective look at the mistakes that maybe have occurred in the last year, but have you learned from them? And finally, are you doing things that make you uncomfortable? I think if you hold on to these 3 things or 4 things and that you also take action, 2023 can be one of the best years of your life. So there you have it, my friends. Thanks so much for listening. If you found this to be helpful, or if there's ways that I can serve you in this in 2023, check out my link below that I'll put in the comments section, how you can get in contact with me and maybe just have a discussion how you can make 2023 your best year yet. So thanks so much for listening. This has been Chris Natzke with Black Belt Leadership Speaking and Coaching, and we'll see you next time on the Mind of a Champion Tip of the Week.